What up, everybody? Hmm. What's up? What's up, YouTube Live? All right, it's been a while, like maybe a few days since I went live streaming. So tonight I will come back. I will be doing live streaming 3 times tonight. So this is the first one um, to give you my review of Star Trek Discovery, and then I will come back after like going to bathroom break or whatever to do my review of to give you my review of Netflix new docu series Losers. The title is Losers, and then I'll come back later on tonight to give you my review of Amazon's new limited series The Widow, starring Kate Beckinsale. So special thanks to Amazon and Netflix for granting me the screeners to those two. But first, haha, Star Trek Discovery, baby. I love this show. I love this show. Now, just like with all my episode recaps and my TV reviews, this too contains spoilers. Okay, I'll be spilling some spoilers here. So, heads up, spoiler alert. This review is mainly for those of you, my fellow Star Trek Discovery fans, who have also seen or watched tonight's new episode. And it's season 2, episode 7. The title is Light and Shadows. And let me just start by I have a lot of notes on my screen here to get through, and we got to break this down, right? We got to unpack this episode. But first up, just want to start by saying yes, yes, Spock has finally arrived. Wow, took him long enough. Freaking 7 episodes into the season 2 that we finally get to see Ethan Peck as Spock. Ethan, of course, is the actor who gets to play this iconic role that was previously made famous uh, by the late great Leonard Nimoy, and then Zachary Quinto also filled those shoes on the big screen of J.J. Abrams' version of Star Trek, the parallel universe. So, just a refresher, right? Previous episodes this season, they've been trying to, they, by they, I mean Star Trek Discovery, Captain Pike, Michael Burnham, they've been trying to track down Spock. But every time they get close, freaking Red Angel always like sends them on this other thing, and either a rescue mission or an impending disaster is about to happen. I mentioned to you that this is probably or I mentioned to you that this is the season where it feels procedural. Like it's as if like the angels giving them cases to solve on a weekly basis, kind of like Raymond Reddington on the blacklist with his relationship with the FBI. So every time they get close, oh yeah, that's Spock shuttle. Like at one point, the shuttle wasn't even like there was no Spock in it. It's Philippa Giorgio that was in it. So now, bam, Spock arrives, baby. So I want to start with that. Now, there are 2 arcs going on in this episode. Those of you who have seen it would know what I'm talking about. The first one is regarding Michael Burnham finally seeing Spock in his current state. Let's just put it that way. And then the other arc or the other storyline is Captain Pike and Ash Tyler going into this anomaly, the rift in space time, where yeah they pretty much get stuck in that. Oh, sorry. Let me just turn this down. They get stuck in there, and so that's the other storyline. So let's see. Mini, 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 mo. Let's break down the anomaly first, okay? Here are just comments that I had when I was screening the episode. With regards to Tilly, we love Tilly because Tilly gets excited about the little things, right? And in tonight's episode, that giddiness kind of gets amped up a little bit when she said "freaking," and she adds time to everything, like time band, time rift, time. And at one point, I was cracking up. I was laughing because, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I saw a pussycat. No, I'm just kidding. That's a That's Sylvester. That's Looney Tunes. I thought I saw Saru shaking his head at Tilly being silly, and that cracked me up. And I think that's Saru's way of rolling his eyes, because I don't know if his kind, the Keltian can actually like roll their eyes. So he went like this. Oh my god, I'm the writers of this episode. You got to give them, I don't know, credit, donuts, what have you, medals for making Tilly extra entertaining. Tilly has always been lovely. That's one of her many traits, right? Because that's that naiveness to her, like curiosity. She's smart. Don't get me wrong. She's smart as hell. She's not she's not a comic relief by stretch of imagination. She's not like a dumb bothead, like the only guy or the only crew member, not guy, the only crew member who's dumb. No, 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 not that. It's just that she has this childlike wonder, childlike curiosity. That's that the littlest things that gets her giddy, and and I think Saru has gotten to the point where it's like, that's Tilly being Tilly again. Not necessarily annoyed. It's just that, okay, it's Wednesday. Tilly's doing something. Oh, this must be Tuesday. So I love that part. I love that part. Um, the clash that Captain Pike and Ash Tyler have, against each other in this episode, and it's not like resentment or animosity. It's just like you can tell that Captain Pike finds Ash Tyler very untrustworthy, and you know you can kind of understand where he's coming from with that because, like he said, like you had this history, you murdered a crew member, and I think with regards to Ash, his go-to defense, like that's Vogue, right? Or like that's not me. Now he always has that card to play, and I think that even the fact that he has that card to play, it just kind of also rubs somebody like Pike the wrong way, and I totally understand that. Um, but it goes even further than that. You can tell the writers really want, because this is probably the first episode out of this entire season 2 so far that we get to see Ash actually spends time with Pike. Um, ever since Ash rejoins Discovery, because remember I mentioned to you in the previous episodes, it seems that Ash is still trying to figure out where his place is now that he's back with the crew and on the bridge and on the ship. Um, he knew his purpose before in season 1, before the whole Klingon thing. But now it's like, okay, where am I here? And Captain Pike is like, oh, I know what you did, and so I want to be extra cautious around you. So what I mean by when it goes even further is because in the shuttle they have a clash also, as far as deciding things or judgment calls on what to do. And if you ask me, I think in this episode Ash does irritate me a little bit, and I think I'm siding with Pike a little more on this episode, because you can tell Pike is really, really trying his best to keep it together, to not lash out on Ash. But Ash makes it really, really difficult. It makes it difficult for Pike to keep it together. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like, just shut up, Ash. Just shut up. Even after he gets like threatened with like martial law and whatnot, court martial. I mean, Ash still is like so opinionated, and that's just his personality, I suppose. And there's this two heads just butt against each other. Like, I know what to do. No, I'm more experienced. No, if you're doing this wrong, They even sound like married couple. Granted, I'm on the side of Pike because Pike is the cool headed leader, and uh, he has more wisdom. And after 7 episodes, he has me sold on his leadership style. Not just his charm, because freaking Anson Mount is freaking sexy as hell, but also like, dude, Ash, just shut up and listen already. Now, granted, though, Ash does save Pike in this episode, and they kind of save each other too. Pike, with when shooting that thing that was entangling Ash Tyler. Of course, the rescuer of it all is Stamets. Stamets comes on board, and here's what I have also on my note. I wanna address this in that I grew up watching Star Trek: The Next Generation. Right, I did not grow up watching Star Trek the original series till later on. Um, the Next Generation, that was my Star Trek, um, and and I'm getting to a point here, but I don't remember it, that show at least TNG, being so. What's the word I'm looking for here? You know what? Let me rephrase that. In this episode, there's this one element that kind of encapsulates the Star Trek Discovery adventure, and that is um every time they're on this pulse pounding, fast paced, thrilling race against the clock stuff, which happens every week now apparently. I- is it just me, or do you feel the same way? Like, like there's always something racing against the clock every week now. This is the latest one, and every time that happens, the scientists and the crew members on the board, right? I'm sorry, on the bridge or on board. Um, they of course have to come up with solutions, and it's all very fast paced because time is of the essence, and because they're so smart. Tilly is smart, Stamos is smart, Saru is smart, and they throw in all these science fiction jargons and mumbo jumbo, right? um and if you notice in this episode, and it happens in a lot of episodes in Star Trek Discovery, um there are several times when they always resort to simplifying things. Like, if it's as if the show or the episode has to explain in simple English term for you, the audience, for us too, me as well. They'll throw in some jargons, and then they'll be like, okay, this is like a blender. And then the next scene, like, Stamets and Tilly's like, oh, the shuttle's going towards the rift, and oh, why would it do that? And then Stamos will spew a bunch of jargons, right? And then immediately he'll say like, oh, it's like water going down the tube. There's another case as well, a scene that I forget which part is like, they would throw in the jargons, and then immediately after that they simplify it for you and me, the audience. Like, oh, it's kind of like this, you know. Now, I don't remember that being done as much or as often or as prevalent in Star Trek: The Next Generation, which is the Star Trek that I grew up watching. I don't remember that method or that style. Like, oh yeah, this is done because it's like a cat going through the tunnel. We have to do it this way. I don't remember that being done in the previous Star Trek installments. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you remember old Star Trek Voyager episode or Star Trek Enterprise episode that kind of has that style that Star Trek Discovery does. You in this show, Star Trek Discovery. And totally understandable because they have to, again, race against the clock, right? And they have to explain to the audience what they're about to do. Otherwise, you'll get stuck in this science fiction stuff, jargons. I'm sorry. So you'll be like, oh, that's what they're about to do. Okay, got it, get it. It's like pouring this into the glass. I get it. I get it. uh, but back to Ash and Pike. So Stamets comes aboard the shuttle, and in this storyline in the Star Trek Discovery season 2, episode 7, we get to see, even though we don't get to know the Red Angel yet, right? So far, what do we know? He's a humanoid form, right? And he has this tech, like freaking Wasp from Man and the Wasp. and, and so that tech is something that they've never seen before. So it's got to be like way, way, way in the future. And so we don't see the angel in this episode, but we see this technology that attacks the shuttle, Captain Pike and Ash Tyler shuttle, and and that is also technology that they've never seen before. Um, and this technology, one of the things that it does in this episode, it absorbs the data, information from the shuttle and from the Discovery. And by the end of the episode, you see that Commander, let me get this name right. I'm still trying to remember every name of the crew. Commander Arium. She is, I guess you can call it not cyborg. I guess you can call it a robot. But you can tell that, you get the sense that, oh my God, is she in on it? Or she's under the influences of somebody else that is responsible for that data breach. And because she's a mechanical being or technical being, I guess you could say that um that she gets affected by that process. That's one theory. Another theory is, of course, that she's in on it, or that she is the one responsible. So we don't know yet. We don't know if she's rogue or not. But that's fascinating to me, because now we get to wonder, like, who is that? Who is that causes that thing to enact data breach? Like, I thought we're just dealing with signals, 7 signals, and the Red Angel, and now we have this thing that's kind of infiltrates uh, the ship's data. I was like, I thought the Red Angel is, if you ask me, I thought the Red Angel was helping them. The Red Angel helps them solve, or take care of cases on a weekly basis. So could it be that the Red Angel that caused the data breach? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll definitely see. It's definitely not answered in tonight's episode. Um, but before we get to the second arc, one last note. I want to say that I'm glad that once they returned on the ship, that Pike does not move forward with like court-martialing Ash Tyler. And that's the kind of guy Pike is, right? He's very grateful if somebody like helps him or saves his life in the process, whatever, that he would like overlook that person's, or at least takes that goodness into consideration in his judgment on that person. But that is like a really thin ice that Ash is walking on, man. Ash Tyler, he should be grateful that he was just clashing with somebody like Pike. Like, if he had clashed with somebody like Leland, the guy in charge of Section 31, dude, his ass will be out of there like in no time. Leland's not forgiving, man. And in tonight's episode, we even find out that he has a secret that's really, really brutal. So um I get, though, Ash Tyler has to be Ash Tyler, right? That's the kind of guy he is. He questions things. He is very opinionated, and he would assert himself. When if he feels like something is not done the right way. I get it. Ash has to be Ash. But if I were him, I'd really walk that line delicately. Because, man, you've been away, right? You've been away, and you have this thing, this side of yours, Klingon side, and like people don't trust you because of that. So because people don't trust you because you've been away with Klingons, and you gotta earn their trust again, man. And you can't do that by keep like you know giving friction, I guess you could, or causing friction every step you go or every mission you take. You always have friction with everybody. No, no, no. So if I were him, I would wise up a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe this is not the last clash you'll see of or between Pike and Ash Tyler. Um, that does provide a pretty good drama, though. Conflicts always do. Speaking of conflicts, the second storyline in this episode, Michael Burnham goes back to the Vulcan planet and to talk with her mom and dad. And guess what? Guess what? Turns out her mom was harboring or is harboring, let's just use present tense, a fugitive. Remember, Spock is on the run um, because allegedly he killed two people in the psychiatric facility that he was held in. So he's the fugitive of the law, and Section 31 is after him because of that. Um, excuse me. Sorry. Let me put this down. All right. So where was I? So that's the storyline for the second arc. I have this on my note with regards to Amanda and oh man, I can't remember the name. Amanda Grayson. Amanda Grayson. There you go. Amanda Grayson. And Sarek. Um, Spock's mom and dad. Michael Burnham's mom and dad. The conflict between logic and motherly, instinct. Because mother wants to protect her baby, her son. I get that. That's fantastic. I gotta give great. I want to say B+ to the writers for presenting that conflict between Sarek and Amanda in this episode, because we get to be reminded as audiences, the wrestle, the wrestle that they still continue to have, because Spock is, I guess you can call it half breed, if you will, and there's this always differing of opinions between how to approach things, differing of opinions of how to approach things between Sarek and Amanda, and then of course Michael Burnham is caught in the middle of that. Michael Burnham wants to help her brother, but at the same time she's a Starfleet officer, so she has to juggle those aspects, you know, um, thread carefully as well because of that. I totally understand. So that does provide an interesting and an intriguing drama in tonight's episode, in my opinion. Um, Spock Spock was Spock is fascinating in this episode. Spock pretty much becomes Russell Crowe in A Beautiful Mind. He becomes like do you watch The Flash, guys? Do you watch the Flash series? Grant Gustin. I think earlier on in this season, he also has his Beautiful Mind moment when he's like, you know, he writes all these numbers and all these symbols on the wall, and that's what Spock is here. He's uh, to a normal person, he looks like he is suffering from schizophrenia. Long story short, Sarek says, "Hey, let's give him to Section 31. Section 31 is the one that like really wants Spock the most. Maybe they can figure him out." And that leads to Philippa Giorgio telling Michael Burnham, "Hey, you got to get Spock out of here because Section 31 has a hidden agenda, and you don't want Spock to be messed with by them." And then pretty much Michael Burnham escapes with Spock, And this is when it's revealed that Leland apparently killed Michael Burnham's parents. Am I hearing that right? Because I think that's when I watched the episode, I'm like, wow, that is some big reveal. So hopefully one of these episodes we'll get to see the flashback of how that went down, or how he actually committed those murders. Or maybe he just, maybe he didn't do it directly, or maybe he just had something to do with it indirectly. But either way, it's a big secret that got revealed tonight by Philippa Giorgio, whom, by the way, also has a funny line in this episode when Philippa tells Michael Burnham, like, "Oh, wow, you managed to get Spock by manipulating your mom. I wish I could do that to. I wish I could do that to my mom, if she had, stayed around longer." And Michael Burnham asks, like, "Did you did you kill her?" And Philippa's like, "It's a blur. It's a blur." Again, another evidence of why the writers of this episode, or the writers for this season, is are they are spot on, man. They're really, really sharp. They're good at creating conflicts. They're good at creating pulse pounding, race against the clock drama, and they're good at making sure that the jokes speak about the characters, and that the jokes actually hit the target. So I love that. I've been a big fan of this new season so far. Um, Before we end, just want to say, with regards to Spock, Ethan Peck's approach or style or performance as Spock, I if you ask me what I think about it, I don't have a strong full opinion about it just yet. This is the first episode that we've finally seen him, right? And it's the episode when he's kind of like cuckoo for Cocoa Puff. So he's not really in his Spock mode quite yet. You know what I'm saying? He's not. So I can't really judge him. Okay, or compare, like, oh, this is how Ethan Peck's performance as Spock in comparison to Zachary Quinto's or Leonard Nimoy. Let alone making comparisons. I can't even like form opinion just yet about Ethan Peck's Spock solely. So hopefully he'll snap out. According to the preview for next week's episode, it seems like they're gonna encounter some species or some beings that will allow Michael Burnham to see what's inside Spock's mind, and that would eventually get Spock to become Spock again. It's like, oh, now you see what I see, right? And it seems like, from the preview, it seems like it's an impending doom, like something cataclysmic, something catastrophic, and some kind of a doomsday coming up. Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to Ethan Peck as Spock, not as schizophrenic Spock. Um, and we'll see. We'll go from there and see how influential, or how much he contributes or brings to the table in terms of this Red Angel and Seven Signals. Because I'm very, very curious. So yeah, it's very interesting episode. Once again, they have two big storylines, and there's that intense, thrilling stuff happening without Michael Burnham's involvement. And you know, if Michael Burnham comes back to this to the Discovery, and Tilly Tilly would go like, "Oh my God, Michael, you would not believe what happened to us." That would be a great story, because I know Tilly is quite the storyteller. All right, you guys, that's my review of tonight's Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 7. Um, as always, share your thoughts in the comment section below. What did you think about tonight's episode? What is your opinion about Spock? Or do you think you're not, you haven't fully formed your opinion about him just yet, like me? And do you have theories as to what that Red Angel is, who that is, and what his intentions are? And Yeah, let me know. Let me know your thoughts or questions, for perhaps, in the comment section below. Uh, and as always, subscribe to my channel. Subscribe. Press that like button, ring that bell. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Wow. All right. I'll be back later with my reviews of both Netflix Losers and Amazon's The Widow. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, Princess Star says, I love Star Trek. I love Star Trek too, Princess Star. And Aurora Hill, shout out to Aurora Hill, saying, thanks for covering Star Trek. Oh, thank you. And I love Star Trek. Big fan of the franchise. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I want to hear your thoughts and your questions about Star Trek Discovery episode tonight, or maybe in general. Okay? Let me know. Let's rock this.